Oop, I hit the wrong thingy. There we go. Hey everyone, I'm Wargear and welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing our lore series with talking about one of the coolest people in Warhammer 40k's lore. Today we are talking about Commissar Yarrick. Now, I am doing this because Warhammer Plus did just release their animation, which I went over in my channel, and you can see the links in the, actually about over here area. You can probably find that video. Check it out. It is very, very, very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know a lot of people are butthurt about it, but whatever. They're going to be hurt. Hurt people are going to be hurt. Don't question them. So, in this lore series, we do everything off the cuff. We don't have any type of script whatsoever. So if I get some things wrong, I do apologize. Correct me in the link in the comments down below. Also, if you want to see something added to this series or want me to talk about something cool that you like in 40k, comment down below. Before we start, go to my Patreon. There's exclusive videos there. I have to do that plug because I always forget. Anyway, let's get into this. Today, we are talking about Commissar Yarrick. Now, we're not talking about him in the traditional sense. We're talking about his weapons, his war gear, and what it all can do. So, Commissar Yarrick is Commissar Yarrick. He doesn't need explanations. His lore is all over the place, okay? He's a really cool character. I absolutely love him. But what is Commissar Yarrick's, uniform? What type of weapons does he have? What armor does he use? Is it any good? Is he an efficient fighter? These are the questions that I want to answer today, looking at his outfit and going over the canon lore, as well as what I think he has. So what I think is, my theories about him, but what he actually has, we do know. He has an orc power claw. This is the most notable feature of Commissar Yarrick, aside from his bale eye, which is a eye implant that acts as a lasgun. It is a single-shot lasgun that is absolutely devastating to anything near it. And if Commissar Yarrick grabs an orc and looks at it, he can burn its head up and blow up its entire brain, which would scare the hell out of any orcs nearby, and this is exactly why he did this. The bale eye is a common bionic that can be ordered by anybody who just so happens to want it and can afford it. Commissars have to buy all of their own gear, similar to how army sergeants and other things in the Imperium have to buy their own weapons and war gear. They do earn money for their service. They do earn a retirement. It's actually kind of cool. I do want to do a whole video on the bureaucracy of Warhammer 40k and actually why it's kind of really neato mosquito. So Commissar Yarrick actually did get this power claw from defeating an orc who tore off his arm, and he had the tech priests make it sanctified and give it to him so that he could use it, so that he could use their weapon against them to scare the ever-living piss out of them. The only other war gear that we know that Commissar Yarrick has is his Stormbolter. The Stormbolter is an excellent weapon. This is a human-sized Stormbolter, so it's more than likely a Godwin Diaz or a similar model to that. So it is a smaller class of Stormbolter, and yes, you can fire a Stormbolter and a bolter one-handed without assistance in any way, shape, or form, and you will not destroy your entire arm. This is a common myth, and it is very unlikely to happen. And even in the lore, the instances that it kind of happens is the people have to brace themselves to hold Space Marine weapons just because they're so big and inefficient. And I am going to say that they're inefficient because they are. Now, the other war gear that we know that Commissar Yarrick has is the Commissariat outfit, which is a flak vest. So for those of you that don't know, flak in 40k is actually really, 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 really neato mosquito. And here's why. Flak has the ability to absorb and dissipate heat, as well as shrapnel and bullets. A normal auto gun shooting up against this, depending on the auto gun, obviously. But most autoguns shooting a flak vest won't get through it unless they hit it a few dozen times. The person under it will still get hurt. Think of it as a bulletproof vest of today, except it covers a lot more, okay? They also wear a hardened carapace armor, which just makes it a little bit more bulletproof and gives you more survivability on the battlefield. Cool thing about flak is if you are shot by a las gun, like even point blank, you might survive from it with burns underneath it, and it will be severe burns. Let's not get that wrong. Las gun burns at almost 6,000 degrees, but it will burn the outfit first, dissipate, and the rest of the heat will hit you. So you'll get like first and second degree burns from it instead of just, getting shot with a las gun and exploding. Because that's not fun for anybody except the person who shot it or the orc laughing at you. Now, talking about storm bolters. Storm bolters are interesting in the fact that they are garbage tier weapons. Okay, so the cool thing about a bolt gun is that it is a semi-automatic 3 to 5 burst weapon. Depending on the chapter, company, sororitas, or anybody using them. There's tons of different styles, but let's stick to the human styles. The storm bolter itself fires about 80 shots, I believe, because it's 40 and 40. It feeds itself very quickly and runs out of ammunition very, very, very fast. Commissar Yarrick is actually incapable of reloading his weapon. And this is actually kind of canon. It's why he carries a secondary weapon and a sling for his weapon. So he can just sling it up, and you can actually see the sling on his weapon itself. Either that or it's a, I don't believe we have another mark of it. Yeah, it does appear to be some type of sling. Or it's a piece of Wargear that, or a, what am I trying to say? Or purity seal. But more than likely they use some type of sling or magnet grapple on the weapon itself. And this is very common in bolt weapons, so that they can lock at your hip so that you can switch your weapons. Now we can see that Commissar Yarrick does have a bolt pistol on him as well. Actually, it might be a las pistol. I'd have to check his rules, but right now I can't, so I do apologize. But I think that might actually be a bolt or a las pistol. Commissars are very common for, it's very common for commissars to have multiple different types of pistols. So more than likely he's carrying a pistol into battle. In this picture we can see that it is some type of bolt pistol. So let's go ahead and zoom in, and you can see that it is a bolt pistol. In this image we don't get one. In this image he just has his storm bolter. So that is all we know about Commissar Yarrick's Wargear, and now we're going to get into what he might have under the hood. Now, it is clear that he has hardened carapace armor. That's the armor that he is wearing. Now, similar to, oh God, what is her name? Oh my God, why am I forgetting her name? Wow, it's the female commissar. I cannot remember her name right now. Katarina. Not Katarina. God, that's not right. But the other one, who has the hardened carapace armor. This would give you, in game terms, like a 4-up save to a 3-up save sometimes. But that is probably a very good ballistic shield against everything. It is pointed, so it will deflect most shots away from the actual wielder of it. And it goes all the way up, and it tilts up a little bit, which I don't like. That means at the very top you can get shot, and then it'll go right into your head. Not very fun. We do know that Commissar Yarrick has a refractor field. A refractor field is an energy field that dissipates and gets rid of most projectiles that come towards you. And depending on the lore source, probably hits it with equal force so that it just drops, or it disintegrates it as it comes into the force field itself, or it absorbs it and dematerializes it and rematerializes it somewhere else. There are various types of refractor fields, and a refractor field is a title of Wargear that covers thousands of different subtypes of the same Wargear that do a similar function. But let's talk about what's under that hood. Okay? Commissar Yarrick is old. He's very old. Now, it's not uncommon for commissars or political figures in Warhammer 40k or captains or anybody who can generally afford it to get age reduction. It is called something different, but I cannot remember the name of it right this second. Rejuvenation. Thank you, brain. But it's never been stated that Yarrick has gotten rejuve. Personally, what I think is in his couple of fights with orcs and his fights with Goskell and his fights with demons and all of the enemies of the Imperium, I believe that at some point he had his internal organs replaced, and this would explain his long age. Commissar Yarrick more than likely has a bionic heart and a bionic lungs. bionic heart, and bionic lungs. This would let him age for a very long time because his heart will never fail, his lungs will never fail. So it just takes a lot of pressure off of his body so that it can keep going. Commissar Yarrick also spends a lot of time in the void. And when you're in the void, one of the main causes of aging is actually gravity. And so without the full effects of gravity, your lifespan can be expanded. So the average person in Warhammer 40k lives to about 80, and I know this sounds weird, but trust me, it's very strange that there's a lot of crazy old people that offset the age limits in 40k. The average person on a hive will probably live to like 30, but the average person who is a political figure will probably live to about 120. I wish I was joking. That being said, we know that Yarrick is over 200. He is not the oldest human in 40k. There is a lot older. In fact, there is one character who's canonically about 600, and she is in a Rogue Trader novel. And she is a, how to put this? She is oh my God. She's like a mafia boss. It's kind of cool. I really like it. So, underneath the hood, he's probably has bionic lungs, bionic respiratory system. He's probably gotten rejuvenate at some point. We do know that this is a bionic arm underneath the power claw, and that his power claw has had several iterations. In fact, in this one, we can see that it's a giant scissor on top of a claw and on top of a power fist, and it has pneumatics, well, not pneumatics, it has assistance structures on the back into a power pack. Now, this is actually dropped in a lot of his later artwork, so he doesn't have a power pack for his power claw itself. It probably has an inbuilt power system that goes a little bit to his back, but other images of him have dropped that, and I accidentally X'd out one of the pictures, so I do apologize. But it is now a power claw instead of the power scissor, the pneumatic power scissor, which is a bit silly. I didn't like this. I like this a lot better. And you can even see it on his model here, which is atop the Fortress of Arrogance, which is the best name for an Imperial vehicle ever. We know that he has a power source for his power claw, which also probably powers up his eye as well, so that he has several different ways of using his Wargear. We know that he has sacred scripts all over him. This will probably help him better survive against demons. And other things that he could have is probably like bionic legs and arms that he just never talks about. He could have synth skin covering most of his body, which would help reduce with aging. And he might have other types of war gear, like a let's spitball here. Let's spitball. This glove is probably what is it called? What is it called? A recoil glove. So it makes it so his Stormbolter has no recoil at all, so that he could just keep firing his Stormbolter level. His Stormbolter itself more than likely has a custom grip, sacred inscriptions, red dot laser sight, which we can see in other pictures, the one that I X'd out unfortunately, so I do apologize about this. But we do see that his bolt pistol has it. A red dot laser sight is just a laser sight, go figure. But it just helps with tracking enemies, and it is quite literally the sci-fi laser dot thing that's really stupid and gives away your position. I apologize. Other things, his Stormbolter is probably filled with Seeker ammunition. So now you're sitting there going, but Alexis, what is Seeker ammunition? Well, bolt weapons come with various types of bolts. There's dragon rounds, there's piercing rounds, there's timer rounds, there's acid rounds, there's hellfire, there's seeker, there's other types. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. But a seeker round is actually a missile instead of a rocket. So the average bolter actually fires pretty much a rocket, where it leaves the barrel and then fires its rocket and just goes straight. Where a seeker round will fire its rocket, but it'll be a missile with a guiding system that goes straight to its target that you pre-select with a bionic eye, or other types of war gear itself, or if you have an MIU, which Yarrick more than likely has, as he is the as he is a part of the Fortress of Arrogance. By the way, Yarrick might be able to control the Fortress of Arrogance with just his mind. And I'm going to get into that, because that's really, really, really cool. So Yarrick's bolter, his bolt pistol, and his Yarrick's bolt pistol and his storm bolter more than likely have seeker ammunition. This will help with taking things out while not being able to fully level his gun or being able to hold it with his dominant arm. It would just help out. So I talked about an MIU, but what is an MIU? It's a mind impulse unit. Now, this can be in multiple different styles, multiple different functionalities, and there's 1,000 different things that this could be used for. But one of them that I absolutely love is that you can MIU your vehicle and control it with your brain. I'm not kidding, this is an actual thing in 40K. In fact, you can use this in Dark Heresy, and it's a really fun mechanic and is used in the lore. So you might be asking, well, how does this work, Alexis? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm here to help. So how this works is the vehicle itself has a mind impulse unit, and you yourself have a mind impulse unit. You can connect with your mind itself, and this is not psychic powers. It's more like a radio signal, which is kind of weird. But actually, it's not a radio signal. It's actually the Wi-Fi. Oh, by the way, 40K has Wi-Fi. They have internet. They have something faster than internet. And then they have interdimensional internet, as well as having radio waves. Because they do. But they link up to each other, and then you can give the vehicle itself a command. Now, this can't be like a very, very, very difficult command. It can't be something like drive, shoot at these coordinates exactly. It's more than likely just one thing. Like, you can control the cannon to fire, but the cannon will not move. It'll just fire. The tank driving forward, or sometimes steering, depending on the MIU itself. Basic commands can be given, and if you put a servitor in there as the pilot itself and the crew, you can technically put an MIU in each and every single one of them, link up to all of them, and control an entire tank with just your mind. Does Commissar Yarrick have this? Strangely, I want to say yes, because he pilots the Fortress of Arrogance while being on top of it. Now, you could argue that he is commanding his tank to do so, and thus that is how it does it. But I have a feeling Yarrick's a bit more of a badass than that. Oh yeah, the Fortress of Arrogance is a Baneblade. It has a Baneblade cannon, coaxial auto cannon, twin heavy bolter in the front sponson. I think it's a what's the front side mount? I forget what it's called, but a demolisher cannon, 2 sponson mounted heavy bolters with las cannons on top of it. Each weapon can be fired with independent targeting, and it is a Baneblade. If you want to know more about Baneblades, comment in the comment section down below. I'd love to talk to them. I also talk about them. I mean, if I have an MIU, I could talk to them, but I would love to talk about them more. But I do have a video on Baneblades in my Everything Wrong With series. So if you want to see why the Baneblade is a really stupid tank, please check that out. But I think that is all I want to cover about Commissar Yarrick. He's kind of a super badass and a very, very, very powerful person. Commissar Yarrick wields a power fist, a power claw. It is capable of tearing most things in half, and he is an absolute badass. And he's really, really, really efficient in close combat with it, having trained for over, I think, 50 years with just his power fist. The dude is an absolute monster and one human being that I would never want to face. So, if you guys have any questions about any Wargear or anything in 40K that you want to know more about, comment in the comment section down below. I read every single comment. Tell me if I got some things wrong. Tell me if I got some things that you want to see on the channel itself. Give me a topic. I'd love to talk more about some 40K lore. But this has been Lore Rants. As always, I'm Egoqueenalexis. I love you guys. Bye.